As the sun sets, let me welcome you back to part 13 of Tomb Raider 2013, where, after I use the right weapon, today we will be heading towards trying to save Alex. Because if you're not Lara and you go off somewhere alone, that immediately means you're in danger. So we need to go get him before too much trouble can occur. Essentially stop him from trying to be the big hero, because clearly he's not capable of, because only Lara is. That being said, as you get over here, Lara will drop automatically. There it is, between the pipes, which for some reason causes them to move as well, to make it so you can't come back through here. Like, if you ever take that zip line again in the future, you won't be able to drop there. You have to drop later on, because the pipes just budge as you go in. But this is technically a boss. I say technically because it's more just a stronger enemy. The way it works is you have to do so much damage to him that he staggers, and then from there, you just run up to him, press triangle, and follow a quick time event till he dies. But you'll see, as the music just dwanged at us, a bullet to the head won't kill him because he is like a boss-like enemy. I say it very loosely because the bosses in this trilogy, I say that they get a little better with it as it goes on, but the bosses in this trilogy as a whole kind of pale in comparison to some of the bosses we got in the older games. Even in like the original ones where it literally was just keep on shooting them to death, they still had more going for them than just big dudes in armor, you know? But in the original Tomb Raider, the original, literally none of the boss fights had anything special about them. They just chased after you and tried to kill you. They were extremely simple, but it was a T-Rex. It was a torso demon. It was like a Minotaur thing. Like, it was like, they were more creative than just a dude in armor. And in the reboot trilogy, they never really, like, never really make much of a push. Like, we're gonna get a boss fight later on that essentially acts as the final boss, because the actual final boss is just a bunch of cook time events. But when we actually get to the proper final boss, I'm gonna call it, just because you actually have to do something, that's like the only time it's not a person for most of the trilogy. So you can interact with this one as well, but I don't know why you would. But we've got the accelerator as well. I can't remember what it's actually called. I was too busy talking that I didn't read what it said, but I know what it is. And the main beauty of this thing isn't that it allows you to pull heavy objects, and it isn't that it allows you to break through walls you previously couldn't. It's the fact that on any rope you can pretty much use it like a rapid movement. Like, you'll just fire along it at a breakneck pace. But as you press along here, Lara will deviate towards what was her room when they were on the Endurance, to sort of do a how much has changed effect by having her look in the mirror, which in the opening cutscene she also did before everything kicked off, which is cool. The only problem with this is that the first time she looks at it, it's fancified pre-made CG, and this is in-engine.
So much has happened.
Like, if that little bit, only that little bit was in CG as well, I think it would work better to be able to tell the difference, or just, you know, don't use fanciful CG for that opening cutscene. Either way would have worked. Just make it so then they're both in the same style, so it's easier for the player to really be able to go like, holy shit, yeah, she has changed. Because right now it's not that at all. But either way, you can find a note here in Lara's room that Sam made about how excited she was to go on this, which is kind of depressing to look back on, that they were so ready for this just for it to end up being so horrible.
All Lara wanted to do was explore ruins. But who knew we'd run into so many cute guys? Certainly not Lara. I have a feeling this expedition is going to be one for the books. Lara.
If only you knew.
Another crazy adventure.
I have a feeling this one's going to be for the books. Well, if only you knew. But when you're ready, leave again. But as soon as you come back out, enemies have spawned since then. Oh, if that conversation is anything to go by, Alex definitely is in trouble. Because they are aware of him. They're not aware of us yet. Where is that arrow coming? Oh, there they are. Is it me or was their arrow moving a lot slower than ours? No, you saw that, right? That just before the bullet went into him, the arrow went into him. His, like, the wind effect of his arrow was a lot slower. Like, huh? But this section of the ship we won't be able to access once we leave here. So don't worry about collectibles or anything like that. There's nothing you can get here. Oh, there he is. We just got to get him out. Ow.
What's going on? Are you alright?
Ow.
I'm pinned down in here. It doesn't look.
Oh, his leg's pinned by that. Okay. You can't break this. I don't remember this puzzle at all. You'll have to give me a minute as we go along. I don't remember this, like, at all. I remember coming down here and getting to Alex. I do not remember having to get the door open to get to him.
Lara, the hook's on a track.
Oh, right, yeah, we can just... Thanks for just spelling it out for me, Alex. You know, I wish you could... I wish the game didn't do that. Especially when it's this late on. Like, I'm... Okay, so we gotta get that out of the way.
If I could get up there somehow, I might be able to clear it.
Okay, so it moves when you nab the ladders. Hang on, let's go back the other way. I can see a ladder to my left, but I don't know that that will do anything. Grab it, Lara. Yeah, because they could definitely not get in that pipe. Because if I yank that along, won't it just go the full distance? It won't stop in place, will it? Yeah, it goes the full distance, so we can't make it because the ladder's to our right. Unless we can kind of cheese it and jump right, and Lara will just, you know, notice and reach for it. No. Alright then. Hang on, what's stopping me from just going all around with it? If I yank it this way, push it on the ladder twice. Yeah, because then it will hit that pipe when we pull it along this way, and then we just got to pull it the other way of the ladder again. And then it should line up with the ladder. See, I are smart, I can do puzzles. Yeah! That wasn't too bad.
Sorry for dragging you into this mess. I don't know what I was thinking. Coming out here. Thought I could be the star of my own goddamn.
Ow. Okay, well I guess that was a quick way of getting out.
Okay, got it.
Alright, so fucking Lara, come on, please.
Alex!
So we should nab this.
God.
Now that should hook on. Yep.
I'll have you.
Well, it the item kind of jagged around a little bit. It wasn't quite a clean clip. They had to. That looked like a bit of an editing thing that they did to make it so it just kind of went in, even if it didn't look like it went in. But we got a cutscene anyway.
Alex, you got the tools.
Finally, I impressed you.
Let's get you out of here.
Oh, God.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that looks like my dance career is over.
What are you doing? You'll kill us!
I'm not gonna make it out of here, Lara. Take the tools.
Not without you!
How often does a guy like me get to be a hero? Nowhere to run! The others are counting on us. Go! Now!
And that's why we're not returning to this area, because poor Alex is gone as well. I say that, but as I've been saying throughout this, Alex is another one of the characters that I didn't really care for. And now this is where it's teaching you about if you have the accelerator, just holding square, you'll zip along this like a nutjob. This side of the ship you can explore, but that side is, well, yeah, you know, becoming one with the ocean. Well, at least we don't have to worry about burying him.
I can't let anyone else die.
Well, you could let Whitman die. I mean, what? No. Because we already know Whitman's definitely going to betray us at some point. This is him. He can't help himself. He's going to go with whatever thinks will get him more fame. And the idea of being a lone survivor will tempt him before too long. But yeah, you're supposed to care about that section, but like I said, unfortunately, the game doesn't do enough to make me care. So when Alexis went, I was just like, okay, bye. I said the only two characters, free at a stretch, that you have a reason to care about is Roth and Jonah. And even then, Jonah doesn't do too much in this game. I just resonated with him more, and they bring him back in the sequels to give you more time to care about him.
Totally right.
And Reyes is the last character you might remotely care about, but even then, that's also a technicality, because you're only really going to care about her because of her connection to Roth.
Military research base, some kind
Because
of
she has a daughter, things like that. You're not going to care about for her own merit.
No better
Like,
taste.
I can't help but feel like a lot of this game,
TV
a lot
cameras
more
and
than they'd
images.
hoped, was cut or
Yeah,
rushed
I
for
got
time or
scared
something along that lines.
I keep cracking jokes to cover it up.
Because there's so much missing that stops you from really having a reason to care about most of the cast.
Before I completely lose it.
Like, you'd have no reason to care about Sam other than she's Lara's friend. Roth is the mentor character you actually spend time with and actually gets a bit of time for you to resonate with. And everyone else either dies before they get a chance to really mean anything. Especially Grim. Do you remember Grim? Because most people don't. Because you see him in one little cutscene, which is like Lara looking at a recording at the start of him like mumbling about something. And the next cutscene you see him in is him dying. Why are we supposed to care? Like, you get what I mean? Like, it feels like there's a lot cut. And when we eventually get to the concept art, which will be like after we've done the game, I'll probably do one video just showing off all the extras like concept art and character models and such. You notice that there was a lot of ideas that would have been really fun that just didn't get very far. But we got another little cutscene, and this one's actually kind of important.
Months of excavation has at last yielded new information concerning the weather patterns gripping this island. The tomb of an important general dating from the Kamakura period was discovered in our coastal dig site. This discovery is the missing piece of the puzzle. It will allow us to finally gain control of the storms.
So it sounds like the general and his army did discover something on this island before they all perished. So it might be worth further investigating before we try and escape, since we're probably not going to survive if previous indications have been anything to go by. Seriously, after a storm appeared out of nowhere and trashed the plane, and the helicopter was just struck down by a thunderbolt, it looked like maybe we shouldn't, you know, try and escape yet. Maybe we should try and work out what on earth's going on, since there definitely is something going on. The problem is just proving it to everyone else. Because if we just go up and say, "Yo, we're taking the boat inland," everyone else is going to be like, "No." But when you're ready, we're going back the way we came, essentially, back to the shipwreck beach, to inform the others of what just went down. But now we can break this open, because we got this thing. You don't actually need to mash square, you only need to hold square down, and it'll do the rest of the work for you. But let's burn this down while we're here, so I don't have to worry about it so much later on. There's only 4 flags. One of the flags is in that central room somewhere, and the last one is the out of bounds one I was telling you about, the last part.
The date reads May J6, which is 1873.
How would you do? I was gonna say, I know it's a video game character, but you wouldn't be able to just read it that quick. Meiji 6. Oh, that's 18 blah blah blah. Like, no. Because I don't care how smart Lara's supposed to be. That's ridiculous. I say that knowing damn well that in the original Lara Croft and the Legend trilogy as well, she kind of knew every single language known to man. Whilst in this one, she kind of knows every single language, and then when we get to Rise, she somehow just doesn't know any languages, and you have to teach her them as the game goes on. Like, they make it, it's almost like a collectible. Like, there's these things called the monoliths that you can find. But to get access to the monoliths, you need to be able to read them. And to read them, your knowledge of its language needs to be high enough. So you have to find documents and readings and rurals and things like that around the area of the language, so Lara can learn more of the language to decipher it. And then from there, it leads you to a treasure. Which is probably the biggest reason why I was more okay 100% going for 100% in this game. Like, before we enter the last zone of the game, I will just do it all off screen, get it all, and then just show you what I got kind of thing on the other side, because none of it's interesting. But when we get to Rise and Shadow, I'll try and get as much as I can, but the chances of me going for 100% is not going to be anywhere near as high, because there's so much more to do. Like, this game is kind of simple in comparison to the other ones in terms of what you gotta get. There's 3 collectibles that are universal. You can find a map in the little challenge rooms that they've decided to call tombs that will tell you where they are, and the challenge collectibles, with the exception of the 3 main areas, being that big waterfall area where we help Roth at the start, the shanty town, and the shipwreck beach here, everything has got 1 challenge collectible for you to hunt down. The 3 main areas have got 2, and then after that, that's it. There are a couple collectibles in the very last area of the game as well, so I'll be making sure to look around as well, because I would have 100%ed everywhere else, so if I could just get them as I go, I'd prefer it. Because otherwise I'll just have to try and find a little spot to backtrack. Okay, it won't let me get this rope arrow kill. I'm determined for just once in this playthrough to yank someone off the edge of a cliff. Is it really that, like, going to be that much of a menace? I remember using it so much on my first playthrough and it worked like a charm, and now it's just not being friendly at all. Fuck it, come here. Also, I can push him off the other way after wasting literally all our resources. That's more just to log in the camp, because camps are also a part of the collectibles technically. If you don't register a campsite by sitting at it, it won't say you've got 100% in an area. It's just a weird little thing they do. Excuse me? Lara? Alright, let's try that again. What happened there, Lara? I didn't press anything. I let go of the controller because this is supposed to be all scripted, and I did the same then, so what happened that first time? I'd love to know what on earth just fucking happened. Also, now we can access the tomb that's on this bit, but if we turn to try and go for it, the game will force you into the cutscene anyway.
Laura!
When we heard the explosion, we thought...
Alex.
He was still on the ship.
Seems anyone caught with you has a pretty low survival rate.
Reyes,
Better keep your distance then.
let's just eat, okay? Those bastards went quiet, but it doesn't mean they're gonna stay that way. If I'm going to die in this place, I'm not gonna do it hungry. Save a man's stomach, save his soul.
Finally, a little positivity. Once Reyes finishes the boat, we'll be back to civilization in no time. And what a tale we'll have to tell.
A tale? I hope I never hear Himiko's name again.
We can take the boat out at high tide.
No, we can't.
Don't start that bullshit again, Lara.
Lara isn't the only one who thinks we're trapped, Reyes. Matthias may be insane, but he was certain about it. I saw it in his eyes.
He thinks resurrecting Himiko is the key to getting off this island.
God, it sounds crazy. But this whole place is crazy.
These storms aren't natural. We have to face that.
She's right. When that storm hit the Endurance, I felt it. Something dark, something alive. This place is cursed.
Where are you going?
There are ruins beneath that old base in the cliffs. Something in there led them to believe they could control the storms. I've got to find out what they discovered.
Once we're ready to leave, we're leaving. Whether you're back or not.
I won't leave without you.
As much as I can kind of understand Reyes' skepticism towards the whole situation, literally everyone in that group, including Whitman, was like, yeah, no, shit's not right. Shit's not right. This is natural. This is unnatural. It's against anything we know it's reason. We should just take it for what it is. And Reyes is still like, yeah, no, we're going. We'll be fine. And it's like, well, if you want to die, then sure, go right ahead. But either way, before I wrap up this part, because I don't want to really go to that mountain base yet, before we wrap up this part, I'm going to quickly look for that tomb, because I know it's around here somewhere. Oh, I went straight past it. Whoops. Yeah, like this-ish sort of way. Oh, I see it. Yeah, I was literally looking the other way when it came out because I was looking at that hole. Whoops. But now we can open this because we've got the accelerator. Yeah! I can't remember what this one is at all. Like, I know I've been extremely skeptical of all the tombs in the game, but I'm not really going to stop now. I'm sorry, but it is. The tombs, what this game calls tombs, none of them are tombs. They're all just pathetic mini challenges. And it kind of ends up becoming kind of part of my point when I just don't remember any of them. I say that, it kind of applies to Rise, but Rise has a couple of them that kind of caught me by surprise. And I was like, wow, these are pretty good. And Shadow, all of them are fun, I think. I say that knowing damn well I haven't tried any of the DLC yet, despite owning it. But that's just because I kind of burnt out of Tomb Raider as a whole a little at the time after I finished Shadow, so I wanted to just kind of leave it alone for a while and come back to it later.
This cave was once a place of worship.
Oh yeah, I think I know this one, because when you lift it up that moves around and you have to move with it because it will affect things as it goes around. Yeah, because it's going to bump this. And then that won't move until you yank that because you have a little bit of time. Yeah. And that's it, for fuck's sake. That's what I mean. How quick was that? That's probably why I didn't really remember this one until I got here. Because we did that in like one lap. That was like 20 seconds tops. That was no tomb or puzzle in this entire series, reboot or otherwise, should be done in that amount of time. It's so undercooked, and that was literally just it was literally just press a button, follow the thing. It wasn't. It wasn't a difficult thing. It wasn't something that required brain power. You just pressed a button and then did a circle. You didn't even do a full circle. So I think that was something that a lot of people criticised, and it was criticised. Seriously, like my English. I'll get to that in a second. It was criticised heavily, and not just this game, but Rise as well. And like the devs were kind of butchered for it because they were heavily criticised for it, and they said, please, for God's sake, in the next one, bring back proper tombs. And they went, yeah, okay, we will bring back proper tombs in the next game. You do a tomb-esque place as a tutorial to the game. After that, it's back to optional tombs, and although they're bigger, for the most part, it's the same sort of idea where it's just a one-room challenge. It's just the one-room challenges take a little longer. To which everyone turned around again and just went, that's not what we asked for. Like, it felt like they didn't understand what we were asking for. It wasn't that we didn't like the new style and what they were trying to do. It was just, if you're going to call a game Tomb Raider, have actual tombs to raid. And it felt like we wasn't getting that. We was getting challenge rooms called tombs and a little throwaway tutorial at the start of Rise to just sort of try and buy us over. Like, it felt weird, it felt wrong, especially because this was Crystal Dynamics, the same team that gave us the Legend trilogy, which gave us some amazing tombs. Even ignoring Anniversary, because Anniversary is technically just a remake that they did. Legend and Underworld both still had really clever puzzles and temples and mechanics and everything of the like. That showed they did know what we were talking about. So what gave? Like, what gave that reason? So a lot of people didn't bother picking up Shadow. Shadow kind of underperformed.
So,
But thankfully,
you have what you need?
thankfully,
As soon as I get this part fixed,
they did kind of
cleaning on the back.
do it in Shadow, and they did it quite well, even if it was too little too late in a lot of people's eyes.
Saying?
No.
Which is probably, I don't know, I keep mentioning it, but that's the biggest reason why I wanted to cover this game. Just so then one day I could cover Rise and Shadow. Even it's more so to just cover Shadow on the other end of it. Like, Rise is a step up, even if it does struggle still with some problems. Like, I love the fact that they made it manual health again. It wasn't just an automatic regen. You had to actually look after yourself. Especially because on harder difficulties, like on easier difficulties, your health will regenerate up until a point. So you're safe from critical kind of thing. Whilst on the harder difficulties, you don't even get that. So you have to actually look after yourself. Which is like how the older games played. The older games gave you no kind of regeneration.
But I'm hard on her for
Well, I think
a reason.
Underworld did. If you played on easy, it regenerated to an extent, but that's it. But then Underworld's a quirky one. It's a bit different how it handled things while still being Tomb Raider.
The weight of that responsibility. I know it was your call, but sometimes I think you forget that she isn't actually your
But
daughter.
yeah, just going back to my
No one
point
else
as I was
can
reading
wait
that,
steering the Endurance
my
into the
English this
dragon's
week, for
tunnel
anyone who's been
without
watching and starting to get a little
somehow
worried,
evident.
don't, I've just
But
not
you
been
tell
getting
me
enough sleep.
What convinced you?
Like, my stepfather and I have been working quite vigorously on our drive,
But big
trying
ideas
to
and grand
essentially
plans will only get us
rebuild
so
it
far.
because it's kind of rough and it's
You
been
know
for a
as well as
while.
I do, nothing like this ever goes
And so we've been
wrong.
dedicated to rebuilding it, but we've been doing very early starts to just get on it kind of thing, get as much done as possible. And it's just taking its toll on me. So I'll be fine eventually, I just gotta get some more rest and then it'll come back to me.
I'm not giving that girl any
It's just something that I guess I've just adopted from my mother. Both my mum and I kind of lose our ability to talk the more tired we get. But I enjoy doing this too much, so I keep on powering through it regardless. That being said, I'm not going to head up to the research base yet. I'm going to do that next part, 'cause it's a pretty chunky area. What I might do at the start of the next part is quick travel over and get one of the tunes missing done. Probably go into Shantytown and get that one done, because that one's just a little bit more on the path kind of thing.
You still don't trust him, do you?
And then the other one I'll just do in my cleanup near the end, just because it's a little bit more out of the way.
Keep a close eye on him.
I hope you find whatever you're looking for up there, Lara.
Well, I'm sure I will. But in spite of that, next time on Tomb Raider 2013, we actually are going to head up to that research base to try and discover some way to control the storms so we can get away safely, hopefully. But until then, take care now.